Hey everybody, how's it? Good morning. This is Jeeves here, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, dissecting your suggested songs. Jane's Addiction. Now, I do know of Jane's Addiction. I thought it was an extremely clever song they released way back in the day that caught my ear about stealing or something like that, and I thought the performance of it was like, wow, this is really clever. And but needless to say, on with my life I went. So here, for us today on the Decomposer Lounge, I'm going to be doing Jane's Addiction Stop. And this is the very first time I have them here on the channel, so I look forward to checking out what their story is here with Stop. I want to thank you guys for your support. Like normal, any commercials play or ads play on this doesn't monetize the channel. If you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, like a little Death Witch cup of coffee, link will be down below. Link will be down below for the headsets. You want to check out what I'm wearing and stuff, these AKG 240s. And also a link for their Spotify and a link for my Patreon. And today on Patreon, I'm actually doing a long breakdown on an Alice in Chains song, so that ought to be fun. And, you know, just check it out. Go click to see what's there. And sometimes people, instead of buying me a cup of coffee, you go over there, maybe hang out for a month or something. If you don't hang out for the long haul, that's totally cool. I'm just blessed and grateful you guys are even listening to me here. So anyhow, guys, let's do this. Jane's Addiction, Stop. All right.
Señores y señoras, nosotros tenemos más influencia con sus hijos que tú tienes, pero los queremos. Creado y regado de Los Ángeles, Juana's Addiction.
Here we go!
Okay, well, the opening was Odelewe. It caught me off guard. I thought it was really cool. So what I do recognize, you know, from when I heard that one song way back when that I mentioned earlier, is that their particular performance in the vocals and stuff, and the melodies, the melody that they choose is kind of, I don't know what mode that would be. That's like, I think, Ionian, forget it, that mode for musicians. I can't talk right now. And then of course there's layered vocals behind that, and it's got a lot of delay on it. I really like the washiness of it. But the guitar sound, I don't know if this is, you guys help me with this, since this is not my jam as far as being ethnomusicologist and metal and stuff. Is this more punk or something? But what I love is, listen to the bass line. This is really great, fun, riffy stuff going on here, and it's really, you know, and that speed, it's the speed and the way of the performance of the guitar and stuff that makes it feel kind of punkish to me, but I don't know. That's why you guys got to help me with this. But listen to the bass. Listen to how the bass is following. I mean, the bass has really got a good push in the mix and stuff, and it's following, obviously, in unison a lot of the stuff the guitar is doing, but especially when the vocals are happening, listen to how the bass does these wraparound phrases, but while the guitars are just holding out. And it also seems like in the mix that even though it's a hard left, hard right split with the guitars, it's leaning a little hotter on this side, which gives you that kind of vibe, a little more of a stage presence kind of vibe in the mix. Like if you're sitting at the console and you're mixing and you're looking at a band and you're saying, well, maybe the bass is over here and the guitar player's over here, vocal in the front, drums in the back. So sometimes in my experience, when you do that and you kind of offset the mix slightly and one side's hotter, it kind of gives you that playing live kind of vibe. Van Halen did that. A lot of bands did that, where they had the guitar on one side and effects on this side or something of that nature. So anyhow, let's continue on. Let me go back a little bit here.
stop, no go. Far people from waivers, so slavers, love, teacher, and hit the bomb and nobody ain't gonna stop. Move on. Control of a mind like that. Move on. Won't keep a day the water will run, no man won't stand for things that he had done. Hurrah. And the water will run. Won't come a day the water will run, no man won't stand for things that he had done. Hurrah! And the water will run.
This obviously is a complete, shift in their dynamics in the song here, and going into this kind of cut time kind of vibe. And for me, I love cut time. I love when you feel that the beat, and especially when the band brings you in on this, and then they cut like that. Just by cut time, by doing that, it completely, to me, flexes the arrangement so that you can get into the kind of a deeper kind of like, just freaking kind of, get it and lean into it and stuff. So there's obviously multiple guitar layers in this, but for the richness of the performance for a recorded and released to public, track, I love how there are these very unique little arrangements. And what I mean by that is that, let's just say you're on a chord. For those of you who don't play any music or in the music business or anything, musicians, you play a chord. That same chord could be played, but instead of, let's say, just following a rhythm pattern in a complete, chug of the chord, there could be that, and then mute it, and then pick it and let it ring, and those unique subtle arrangement changes in there really make for a really rich dynamic experience. So when you listen to the rest of this guitar, listen to how there are these multiple little arrangements in there, one here, one over here, and I still think they kept the center, because this whole guitar track has been wall to wall. It hasn't been just a hard left and a hard right. There seems to be, a wall to wall guitar power through it. A lot of times what you'll do is you'll have one in mono that'll be EQ'd differently, and then, like I just told you earlier in the first stop, about, this is slightly hotter than this side, it sounds like. And then what you do is that even if it's the same exact, there's so many different methods, but even if this is the same exact playing as this side, sometimes you might EQ this or over compress it or do something to this one to give it just a little bit of a different sound, even if it's played twice, for dynamics. And then once again, the bass on this, the bass really owns a really nice pocket in this mix. And in this whole thing, this kind of, I forgot the name of that one. What it kind of reminds me of is that one track in Zeppelin's last album. And then they went into that slower, cut beat, and then, Plant would be, what was the name of that song? I forgot. Anyhow, whatever. All right, let's move on here. Stand by. That was the best, and especially how they just ended it on stop. It was like a hard stop. And now I really don't know if that drifted into another track, but I like that as a production dynamic. A couple more things before I sign off on this track. What I really loved, and it was really fun if you guys are kind of in the journey with the engineering with me, or kind of dissecting and pulling back things. That little last section there where there was just the singing was completely dry and without any instruments. Listen to the layers that are there. I think that was the signature of this band. This is only the second song of theirs I've ever heard, so I don't know. But if those are the style of vocals in which is their trademark for it, listen to that section again. Go back and listen to that. And listen to how many layers there. I think it sounded like there were 4 different layers of vocals there they're not copy and pasted, meaning like, rephrase like it now with all technology. You can do all kinds of stuff. Each one of those were performed. And then if you go and you listen to that, go back to the song where he comes in and he does his vocals. And in this particular song, it's really nicely washed up with washed with a digital delay. So while there are dry compositions going on left and right with the guitars and the bass, and plus the bass again, I want to go back, and the bass playing in that breakdown was crazy. I loved it. It really supported and lifted the arrangement moving forward. Anyhow, I'm sorry, I just went, I'm sorry, I just glam on the bass because it sticks out sometimes to me. The fact that they really nailed the vocal with a lot of delay and stuff to give it that long kind of ambient vibe while the rest of the band was really tightened in your face, And then, of course, there were these unique wall of guitar style sounds. Anyhow, so that's my story and I'm sticking to it. This is Jane's Addiction. This was Stop. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for those of you who have bought a cup of coffee, make suggestions and everything, gone to my Patreon. The link for this song, Spotify, will be down below. Like all the links for everything else will be down below. All right, guys, take care. Have a killer day. Aloha.
All right.